I welcome all the learners to this video lecture on the topic process of communication. Friends and learners, I hope you are enjoying this course. In this course, we are talking about the different technologies and how you can use those technologies in your teaching learning process, irrespective of the mode of education. You may be working in the face-to-face education system, ODL system, online education system, or the blended learning system. Or you may be sometimes be in the e-learning process where you are engaged in developing the teaching learning materials which are digital in nature. So in the previous lecture, we have discussed about the concept of communication. Why? Because this is very much important in the teaching learning process. And suppose you are developing any teaching learning resources, say for example a video program, and you want your students to make understand about some concepts which are there in your subject, you will be developing the video program for that particular subject or that particular concept, and this will be given to your students to watch and see if the students doesn't understand the concept which is discussed in that particular video program. This is going to be difficult. Why the students were unable to understand the concept by watching that particular video program? Because there is some mistake with the communication. As a creator of this video program, you were not able to communicate the idea which you had thought of. So we say then that communication was ineffective. So that should not be the case. Whatever we communicate to the students, either using the verbal approach, verbal talk, or using any digital teaching learning resources, you should be able to communicate the idea to the students. And for that matter, communication is very important. And we have discussed about the concept of communication in the previous video, where I was discussing that communication is a process of exchanging ideas or information. I would just recollect what we have seen in that, what we have discussed in that video. We have discussed that communication is defined as the process of sharing or exchanging ideas, information, knowledge, attitude, or feelings among two or more persons through certain signs and symbols, leading to a desired response as intended by the communicator. So as a teacher, as a communicator, as a course instructor, course coordinator, you should be able to communicate ideas to your learners. And so communication is very important. In this video lecture, we will be talking about the process of communication. Then I will be also giving one or two examples how it works, how the process of communication happens. In the previous lecture, I had already pointed out the different components of communication, which includes the sender, encoding, sending messages, medium, receiver, decoding, feedback, and noise. Now, how these components work and what are the steps that you follow to complete a communication process, that we will be focusing in this video lecture. So if I say about the process of communication, we may say that they are the steps through which communication takes place between the sender and receiver. We have already seen what this sender and receiver. Sender is someone who develops the idea, and receiver is someone who receives the idea or information. So when the message, when the information, when the idea, when the feelings goes from the sender to the receiver, what is the step followed? What are the steps followed which would help the sender to share information from his side to the receiver's side? Those steps are called the process of communication. Very simple that way. Steps through which communication takes place. Now let us see what are those steps, the different steps of communication. I would also give you examples when I am discussing the different steps. The first process is the development of idea, and the second process is encoding. I would like to discuss, simultaneously. Suppose we take the case of video program that we are going to develop. Why I am discussing the example of video program? Because as I said, in this course we will be talking more about the technologies which we can use in different modes of education, how you will select and integrate those technologies. So in a normal teaching learning situation, verbal discussions are more, and when we use technology in place of our verbal discussions, we will make use of digital teaching learning resources and video programs. Videos are one of the most used digital teaching learning resource. So let us then take the case of developing a video program. And see, I am going to teach about, say for example, again a concept from the maybe physics. So I need to help my students understand this concept using this video program. Say for example, if this concept is acceleration, so I should think of the acceleration, the concept of acceleration. Then I should also think of what I should teach to my students. So I will be noting down, I will be pulling all those messages which I wanted to convey to my students, which I need to teach my students through this video program. So it starts from that. I am taking in the idea, like for example the concept of acceleration through a video program, then the concepts which I will be teaching to my students. So this is the first step which I would take. I will develop an idea, then I will be pulling down, I will be noting down all those concepts which I need to discuss with my students, which is nothing but the encoding. We have also discussed about this in the previous lecture. So development of idea is the first step in the process of communication, then encoding is the second. Now development of the message is the third step. So in development of message, at this step what I would do? As I said, I am going to develop the video program and I am going to teach the concept of acceleration. So the concept which I need to teach, I will be writing down, and that is going to be my message. And see friends, for developing video program there are various steps. The way we talk about the process of communication skills, there are various steps for developing the video program. So even though I am noting down all the concept which I am going to teach, I need to take into consideration all these aspects if I am going to make use of a video program to teach the concept of acceleration. So message now I have developed, this is the third step. Now the fourth step is the selection of medium. As I said, we have already selected the video program as the medium, as the channel. We have the concept of acceleration, then the medium we will be using is the video program. So then I have to develop that video program. I will do all those processes which I have listed out, like developing the idea, then the development of the video program. Now, after developing the video program, what we will do, this has to be sent to the students. So, in that case, we again require a medium. So, the video program which I have developed, this can be sent to the students maybe through email. I can ask my students to watch this video program if it is displayed in the classroom. I can send it through any social media platforms like Facebook, WhatsApp, any such social media program, social media I can use. So friends, let me repeat, it starts with the development of idea, then the encoding, then the message development, then we have developed the video program, then this video program is sent to the students through some channels or some medium. So that is the fourth step in the communication. After sending this video program, this will be received by my students. If I am projecting it in my classroom, my students will of course see that video program. If I am sending it through any social media platform, they will see that, they will download it. Sometimes they may store it in their digital devices like mobile, tab or laptop or computer. So anyhow, this message is transmitted through the medium and this will be received by the receivers or students. So that is going to be the next step, that is the transmission of message and then the receiving of the message. So again, development of idea, decoding, development of message, then selection of medium, transmission of the message, then receiving the message. After receiving the message, students will understand, they have to decode, as we we were discussing about the components of communication where we have discussed about decoding. So once they see this video program, they have to decode the message which is there in that video program. And what will be the message here? The message here will be the definition of acceleration, the formula used to calculate acceleration. Then there can have couple of maybe examples. So when the students understands that, the definition, the formula, the different examples, then this is nothing but the students are decoding the message which is there in the video program. So this is the next step. Once the students understand the message which is there in the video program, maybe sometimes the students respond back to their teacher that we have understood this concept. This video program is beautifully made. It helped us to understand the concept in a good way. So there can have many feedback. And if those students who doesn't understand the video program, that also will be conveyed to the students. They may say, teacher, the concept which is discussed in the video program, I didn't understand. The formula, the way it was derived, I didn't understand. The examples I didn't understand. So if they say this also, this is going to be a feedback of communication. So this is the next, what we say, the step in the communication process. So I would just sum up the different steps that we carry out in the communication. Like it starts with the development of idea, then it is moving towards decoding, then the development of message, then the selection of media, then transmission of message, then receiving the message, decoding, and finally giving the feedback. So these are the processes, or we may say the steps carried out in the communication. Friends, we have already given an idea about the steps that we carry out if you are trying to develop the video program. I would also like to give one more example. Say for example, suppose as a teacher of open and distance learning, I am going to develop an e-text, electronic text. You are very much aware that we make use of the hard copy print materials which we usually read and understand. Now since technologies are more in use, the hard copy text now they are converted to e-text. We may also call it as interactive text because the students get chances to interact in various ways. Say for example, suppose I have an e-text where I am asking my students to visit some YouTube videos where some discussions are happening. So while reading the text, the students also get to know about the YouTube video. Sometimes I may ask them to visit some other websites. So it's not static that way. They read the text, they get an opportunity to visit website, watch video, watch some audio programs. So that way it is more interactive in nature. So e-text or interactive text. So say for example, I am going to develop an e-text maybe on the title ICT and education, the different technologies ICT is used in education. Now what I will do, so I need to develop an idea. What all points, what all concepts can go into this e-text. So you can just correlate with the different processes which we have discussed just before. So it starts with the development of idea. So I'll be pulling all those ideas, the concepts which I need to include in the e-text, which are going to be placed in the e-text. Now then, after doing this, so now I have a understanding about these are the concepts which I will be including in the e-text. Now I'll be developing that e-text. Okay. First I'll be making use of some software, say for example the LibreOffice or a proprietary software like Microsoft Office. So making use of any of these softwares, I'll be writing that e-text. I'll be putting my ideas, the concept which I was thinking of, all those will be put in this e-text. I'll be also including website links, open education resources, graphics I'll give, tables I'll insert, some case studies. So there can have many things which I can place in the e-text. So now my e-text is ready. This e-text is in the written form, this is in electronic form. You can see the written symbols in the e-text. Now this e-text is ready. Now once this is ready, this has to be sent to the students. As we were saying in the process of communication, this has to be transmitted, this has to be shared with the audience, in this case the students. So for sending the e-text, what all technologies we will use? Again I am stressing on the technologies because we are talking about the technology used in education. So how we can send this e-text? There are various ways, multiple ways. Simply make use of your maybe social media platform, or make use of your email, or if you are a teacher having some own website, if you have a website you can use, if you have a blog you can make use of that, if you are maintaining some discussion forum, put the e-text in the discussion forum. Anything, there are multiple technologies we can use to transmit, to share this e-text that we have developed. Now this is shared with the students making use of any of these technologies, or you can give a lecture also. While giving the lecture you can display the e-text if it is a very small e-text. So anyhow, now the students have received your e-text, they will understand the e-text, the content, the concept which are discussed in the e-text. That is done. So that is the received, the transmission, then the receiving of the message, everything is complete now. Now once the students read and understand, they will also give some kind of a feedback to the student. Say for example, as I was saying about the video program, this is not properly discussed, this we have not understood. There can have many feedbacks, this is perfectly alright because I have understood the concepts which are discussed in the e-text. So there can have different multiple kinds of feedback. So again in this case also, the way we were discussing about video program, development of video program, e-text is also, if you want to develop an e-text, if you want to convey some information in the form of e-text, then also these processes the person, the course instructor or the teacher, passes through all these steps while he or her while the teacher develops this e-text. Now, I would also like to add the concept of barrier here. The same we have discussed in the previous video also. There can have some disturbances which would distort the communication, which will act as an disturbance to the communication. Say for example, here also in the video program also there can have different issues. There can have, if it is sent through internet, connectivity issues can come. Then as a teacher or as a course instructor, I might have developed the video program in some particular format. So this has to be there in the student's computer or laptop, then only they can watch that video program. Otherwise, they may not be able to watch those video programs. So there can have the mismatching issues with the softwares. Then sometimes electronic devices also doesn't work. This also becomes a disturbance to the communication. So those disturbances we call as noise or barriers to communication, and how we will remove all those barriers, this we will be discussing in the coming videos. So friends, I am just concluding this lecture. In this lecture we have discussed about the process of communication, which is nothing but the steps followed while communicating between the sender and receiver. We have also discussed a couple of examples which clearly talks about the processes carried out while communicating between the sender and the receiver. So whenever you make use of any technology, you definitely need to understand the processes carried out, then only you will be successfully able to communicate what you are thinking of. Otherwise, the communication is going to be ineffective. So I hope you have understood this very simple concept, the process of communication, and some of the examples. Thank you.